I was very reluctant to make this video. I was looking at the shoe and I passed it by a couple of times. I was like, nah, I'm not going to get into it. Mainly for one big reason, which is all about me and nothing about you and nothing about the shoe. But really, it's just a shoe that I wasn't all that interested in doing. But thankfully, I did take a look at it, and really, there's a whole heap going on. An awful lot more than I was expecting in this shoe. Now, what we're talking about is the Nike Air Trainer 3. And the reason why I passed this by when I'm scanning through the sites, looking through social media, listening to recommendations from friends and acquaintances. The reason why this one was like, I'm not into it, is because I had no idea about this shoe at all. We're talking 1988 Nike Air Trainer 3, and I promise you that I'd never seen this shoe before in my life. I'm not kidding. Maybe it's something to do with being European and this is more of an American shoe. Maybe it's something to do with the fact that in 1988 I was 12 and maybe a bit before the age when you would get into things like trainers and sneakers and stuff like that. Who knows what the reasons are, but this was the first time to look at this shoe, and I don't, it's tough when you've got a sneaker channel to talk about something that you're not all that sure about and you don't know much about. You have to put some extra time into researching it. If it's an Air Force One, there's a ton of knowledge that I have about Air Force Ones, and it all just comes out into the video. But this is a Nike Air Trainer 3, and I don't know anything about it, so I had to research it from the ground up. But sometimes that's a good thing for me to do, refresh a bit of the old knowledge for me, and good for you guys as well to see something that maybe you haven't seen before, and you definitely haven't seen at this channel before. So without further ado, let's get into this. The first time ever at the Tokyo Butter 23 Sneaker channel, I'm doing a video about the Nike Air Trainer 3 Dracula. This is the Tokyo Butter 23 Secret Channel. Tokyo Butter 23 Secret Channel. This,毎日 up to day, 毎日 meeting design. Every single day from Tokyo, Japan, I bring you content about upcoming sneaker releases, sneaker news, and sneaker reviews. And like I said today, we're keeping it fresh with a trainer that I've never looked at before. And that's always, it's a thrill as well as a challenge to do that. Find out about a shoe that you don't know much about, and then, try and fit it in with all the other shoes that you've looked at. For example, Legacy 312 Jordans. Maybe you guys know this shoe, maybe you don't, but basically what it is the first three Jordans all mashed up, the ones, the twos and the threes, and particularly it's got that strap across the sort of quarter line or 4 foot that sort of sticks out. Not a huge fan. I've told you many times at the channel I don't particularly like Velcro straps across the 4 foot of shoes. And then when we fast forward to this one, this Nike Air Trainer 3, you can see that's got the strap across the front as well. Now when I looked at this shoe, didn't know anything about it. Like I said, literally didn't know anything about it. Didn't know if it was a shoe from 5 years ago, current, 20 years ago, whatever. But I looked at it, I was like, you know what I see in there? I see Air Jordan 4s around the lacing system. I see that Legacy 312. I see Air Jordan 3s round about the midsole and stuff like that. So I'm going to go ahead with like 1989, 1990. Turns out it was 2 years too early or too late, because it's 1988 Nike Air Trainer 3. But like I say, there's definitely echoes of what was going on with the Jordan line at the time and would go on with the Jordan line the next year, 1989, with the Air Jordan 4s, and you can see that in this shoe. So that's where the history of the shoe, where it came from, and where it fits in with all the other shoes of the time. So there's a lot going on in the shoe, a lot of little details in there. I do have one question about it. It's my second Halloween shoe of the season, the previous one being this right here, the Nike Air Max 97 Slime, which I did a couple of days ago. And I was only planning to do one Halloween sneaker this season. But then when I saw these guys and I dug into it, I was like, you know what? Halloween sneaker number 2 is here. So what we're going to do is look at that. I've got this question though about Halloween, because in my mind I was just thinking Halloween, yeah, Halloween shoes, blah blah blah. It's a season, it's a holiday, whatever. But I hadn't actually thought about what all this means in the era of COVID and what's going to happen in terms of Halloween. Are people going to go trick or treating? I doubt it. I can't imagine people going door to door, meeting strangers, dipping their hand in a bag of candy that 15 other people have dipped their hands in. So maybe Halloween's not going to be a thing this year, or maybe they'll find a way to convert Halloween to online and to distance or virtual Halloween, as they've done with many other things. So we'll see what happens, and we'll see whether or not that sort of wave into the Halloween holiday carries these Halloween shoes or not, as it has done in previous years. For example, the SB Dunk Low Night of Fright from last year. There was a bit the Halloween season hype carry that shoe with it, but if the hype isn't there for the season, will there be hype there for these shoes? So let's do this. Let's have a look at this shoe. There's a bunch of little hits on it, very discreet. That's my kind of thing when it comes to shoes. I love it when they're very discreet. And basically looking at the lateral side now, you've got this black, red and white shoe, and you're thinking, where's the Halloween on that? It is not obvious at first glance, but there are actually three very significant, not just significant, but very significant places where the Halloween theme comes in on these shoes. So we're going to look at those three, but we're also going to have a look at one, actually two, let's make it two features on the shoe that I think are interesting and worth looking at. So we'll look at the two features first, and then the three places where Halloween comes in. Feature number one for me, they got it wrong, and it's a swoosh on the side, and hopefully what you're looking at right here is that swoosh, and it's a gradient swoosh, meaning that it goes from red and then it fades into black. It's not a clean cut to black. You can see there's a bit of fade round about the center half of the swoosh. I think this should have been the other way around. I think they should have had the black on the white midfoot section that faded into the red on the black heel section. Instead of having the red and white gives you a bit of contrast in the midfoot section, but then on the back it's black on black and you lose that contrast. Just imagine what it would have looked like with the black on white, plenty of contrast there, fading into red on black, again contrast there. So I think that might have been a better decision as far as design goes for this shoe. And then the other feature in design that I want to look at is I'll do it from the side because I don't want to give away the first thing I want to talk about in terms of the Halloween themes. And what we're talking about is the lining, the sock lining, the top line, all in that sort of deep purple. And this is the first time we've actually thought, you know what, that's a Halloween color. Greens, purples, oranges, that's your sort of Halloween vibe. This looks more like a bread, black, red, bit of white in their shoe, a kind of standard tricolor. But then when you get up onto the top line there, you see that purple and you think, ooh, bit of Halloween coming my way, very nice feature. And yes, you're right to think about Halloween coming my way. So instead of looking from the side, if we look down from above, you can see that purple lining nice and clear on there. But what dominates the view from above is the insole, and Dracula himself hanging out on the insole there. And that's why this shoe is called the Nike Air Trainer 3 Dracula, and the main Halloween feature coming on the insoles there. But there are two more Halloween features, and again, they're kind of subtle. And I like that. I've said it many times on my channel before that I like it when things are not in your face. I like it when they're a bit discreet, and that sort of purple lining with the Dracula on the insole hidden away is one of those features. And then the other two are, first we go up to the tongues, which aren't too far from the insole, and you can see the Dracula like grill, the Dracula teeth, the Dracula mouth, I don't know what you want to call it, splattered all across the tongue up there where it says Nike Air Trainer 3. And top and bottom, you've got the, I don't know what you want to call that. There's probably a medical term for your top row of teeth and your bottom row of teeth, like the lower mandible or something like that. But you can see, you know, the two sets of teeth across the front of that, the tongue on there. Another hit to Halloween, but really without looking, you wouldn't really notice it, and you wouldn't know this is a Halloween shoe. But even more discreet than that is the final Halloween feature on these guys, and it is hidden away, really hard to see in case. In fact, looking at it right now, some of you might be thinking, is that a smudge on the screen? Is that a piece of dirt on the shoe? Is that a deformity in the leather or something like that? But then when you zoom in, as hopefully I'm doing here, you can actually see on the heel of these guys, it's three bats that are kind of sunk into the materials up high on the heel section there. So what looks like a sort of, I don't know, an irregularity at the back of the shoe actually turns out to be a very cool design feature and a very deliberate design feature. So it's a great way to top off our look at those three main Halloween elements of this shoe: the Dracula on the insole, the teeth on the tongue, and then the three bats, I guess embossed towards the heel section of this shoe. So then coming back out, looking at the whole shoe as a oneer, a very nice shoe, very clean. Like I said, not my thing when it comes to midfoot straps, very my thing when it comes to visible air units, which back in 1988 was a big deal. You know, suddenly you've got these visible air units kicking around. 1988 would have been the Air Jordan 3 era, which I think is the era of the first visible air units. So that would have been a big thing on these shoes and a big thing for shoes in general back then. But it's a clean shoe, a nice shoe, great Halloween theme. Nice for me to be able to bring you guys a shoe that I haven't looked at for, I'm looking at for the first time, never looked at before. So hope you appreciate that. Hope you appreciate the content. But you know what it is? It's well after midnight. In fact, it's a bit after midnight. It's time for me to put this video to bed and then put myself to bed. So I'll do what I do at the end of every single video, which is remind you I do this every single day, and that means that you are guaranteed to see me tomorrow.